What's up? Welcome to your Daily Buckeye Blitz for Hump Day. It's the Wednesday, March 27th, 2024. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. I missed you. How are you? How have you been? We should get coffee sometime. All right. No, we should get a drink. All right. We're talking Buckeye football. You know it. Before we do that, I do want to remind you of the BuckeyeCast.com, where you can watch any of your favorite Buckeye legends. I have a bunch of highlight videos of all your favorite Buckeyes over decades and decades of all-time great Ohio State players. We got even recruiting videos from the 2025 class. All of them are up there, and condensed games. We got a ton of condensed games. So please check it out at the BuckeyeCast.com, the video vault. All right, we're going to get into it here. So the players are rolling through spring practice, doing okay, just getting by here, and we're doing our spring position breakdowns. And I can't believe we haven't talked about the receivers yet, as a group. We've talked about specific guys, but let's get into it. We're going to talk Buckeye receivers for this spring preview. It's not a super deep group, but there's tons of talent. We know that. Just look at the recruiting services. So the Buckeyes lost 4 receivers from last year's team, including All-World, All-American Marvin Harrison Jr. But you got Emeka Egbuka. He's an NFL quality talent. He returns, looks to get back to his sophomore season where he was a 1,000-yard receiver. You got sophomore Carnell Tate, true sophomore. He's going to step up into a much larger role, and after he showed flashes last year in his freshman year. Then you got 6 other scholarship players that Brian Hartline is looking at this spring and trying to come up with a rotation. So the receivers outside of Emeka have a combined 29 career catches. 18 of them belong to Carnell Tate. So take away Tate, 11 catches between everybody else. So not a lot of production, not a lot of experience, but these guys just need to get their opportunity, right? So Emeka is your senior. He's 6'1", 206. He had 451 snaps last year. He could become the second Buckeye receiver ever with 2 1,000-yard seasons. Jaden Ballard, redshirt junior, so also in his 4th year, 6'2", 198, had 54 snaps last year. That's it, 54. No more redshirts, sir. He's the fastest player on the team entering this. This is probably his last big spring opportunity. So then you got Keon Grace. He's a redshirt sophomore, 6', 187, 0 snaps. He dealt with injuries last year as a redshirt freshman, but again, coming into his 3rd year. Kojo Antwi, same deal, redshirt sophomore, 5'11", 194, played in 5 snaps, 1 game of special teams in 2023. Still hasn't found consistent playing time. Carnell Tate, the sophomore, 6'2", 191, played 292 snaps last year. That was 4th most in the receiver group in 2023. So now, following up a solid freshman season with Tate, his expectations are sky high as a sophomore. So don't forget about Brandon Ennis, sophomore, 6', 207. He played 32 snaps last year, played in every game, but mostly on special teams. Bryson Rogers, redshirt freshman, 6'2", 185, played 6 total snaps last year. That's why he entered the portal, but he did come back, so we'll take that. Then you got the freak, Mr. Everything, Jeremiah Smith, true freshman, 6'3", 215, top receiver in the 2024 recruiting class. And then Mylan Graham, also a true freshman, coming in this summer, 6'1", 185, 5-star. Will be here in June. So when we talk about the starters, Emeka Egbuka put off the NFL for 1 more year to come back to the Buckeyes. This will be his 3rd year as a starter. But outside of Emeka, there's almost no other starting experience. Carnell Tate started the Cotton Bowl because Marvin Harrison Jr. opted out. But Tate is expected to replace Mar's production in this offense. So the Buckeyes are going to be searching for a third starter, though, outside of Emeka and Tate. And there is plenty of versatility with this group, and there could be several different lineups or rotations over the year. We'll see. Again, it's just spring right now, but Hartline right now is just looking for the next guy he can trust, then the next guy after that, and the next guy after that. That will determine his rotation. So the new additions to the receiver group, just one for the spring, but it's a big one. It's a huge addition. Jeremiah Smith, the top player overall in the 2024 recruiting class, according to 24/7 Sports, Rivals, and On3. Again, nobody gives a shit about ESPN's recruiting rankings. But according to the composite rankings of 24/7 Sports, only 6 players over the last decade have been rated higher than Jeremiah Smith. Rashawn Gary, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Quinn Ewers, Walter Nolan, and Travis Hunter. So he's in some rare air there, but I need to tell you that. Then Mylan Graham coming in June. He's the number 7 receiver in this 2024 class. So no slouch. You're a tremendous slouch. So the depth chart looks like this. I got Emeka Egbuka sliding out to the Z position. So he'll be going outside for the most part. These guys are going to move around quite a bit. But just like they moved Marv from outside into the slot, same for Emeka. He's moving from the slot out to the Z. He's going to still come into the slot occasionally, and they're going to move pieces around. But I got Emeka, then Jaden Ballard, and Keon Grace. Now, on the other side at the X, I got Carnell Tate, Jeremiah Smith behind him, and Kojo Antwi behind him. Now at the slot, I just got 2 guys because I know they're going to move Emeka in there occasionally, maybe even Carnell Tate occasionally. But for the most part, Brandon Ennis is your slot receiver, and then Bryson Rogers right behind him. So this depth chart is very fluid. It's a fluid situation, as always. That's what she said. Some guys are being cross-trained. I mean, all guys are being cross-trained, but some are trying to learn 3 different receiver spots. So you got to get them good with one before you start teaching them the other receiver positions. But eventually, ultimately, everybody will be cross-trained, so you can put them out there in any formation. So the latest we want to talk about this spring is it'll be very interesting and go a long way to see where Emeka is lining up. Ultimately, where he plays, if he plays everywhere, then where he lines up, that will affect the rest of the receivers, right? So keep in mind, in spring, his reps are going to be limited. So you're going to see a lot more of the young guys. And then, but if he's in the slot, then do you move Brandon Ennis and Bryson Rogers? I say Emeka is going to get more work outside to show the NFL his versatility. He played outside exclusively in high school, by the way. So he only played the slot at Ohio State. So only in the last few years. So he played about a third of his snaps outside last year because they were moving Marv inside to the slot occasionally. So to get a good matchup, of course. So expect to see multiple players move into the slot again this year. Brian Hartline, Ryan Day, Chip Kelly, they're going to look for the best mismatches they can find to attack a defense. So as far as the expectations go, I would say since this group of receivers is not deep, it means that everybody should get a good amount of work this spring, except for Emeka. Jaden Ballard has had good springs in the past, but this time, his time is now in his 4th year. He has the speed outside that will make for some big plays this spring, but consistency is the key to playing time. We hear it all the time. Same thing for 3rd-year guy Keon Grace. He's dealt with injuries during his career, but this is also the second spring for redshirt freshman Bryson Rogers. These guys should understand the expectations. So what they do with it, we'll see. A question that you really need to have answered is, can Brian Hartline find 4 guys he can trust this spring? We've seen seasons where Hartline only played 3 receivers regularly, but that number expanded to 5 last year. So can he find 5 guys or even 4 this spring that will be in the rotation this fall? The lack of experience is an issue for sure. But there are fewer starters blocking their way to the field. So any receiver that makes it onto the field still has to meet the standard, right? But there's definitely an opportunity for players who haven't played much to get reps, get meaningful snaps. So for my breakout player, it's got to be Brandon Ennis, right? I mean, this is his first spring. Remember, he enrolled in June last year, so he hasn't been on campus for a full year yet. He saw snaps on offense in 6 games, but only saw regular playing time in special teams. So he's one of the quickest guys on the team in the receiver room, which makes him dangerous after the catch, of course. And we saw that against Purdue, right? So being a slot receiver, he had a completely stacked depth chart ahead of him last year, with Marv occasionally coming into the slot. Then X-Man, Xavier Johnson, both those guys are now off to the NFL. The path to playing time has opened up for Ennis and Bryson Rogers. So Rogers has earned positive feedback from his teammates. He has a high production in practice. Both players have made plays in practice, but maybe the slot isn't the only spot where they can make plays. Let's move them around a little bit. And the snap counts we got to replace. Marv, 650 last year. Fleming, 550. Xavier Johnson, 239. So those are the expectations. Plus tack on, this is a 16-game season. You got to get your starters out of there, get them rest. So again, the young guys are going to have to play in a long season. You could be looking at just some quick math. You could be up close to 1,000 reps per position on a team, in a 16-game season. So Marv he put up 650 in only 12 games. Got to remember that. So anyways, please don't forget to hit the BuckeyeCast.com. Check out the gear. Check out the video vault. And let me know. Hit me up anytime. You guys, all my contact info is right below the video. Or if you're listening on podcasts, we love you too. All my info is right below in the show description. So that's all I got for you today. Talk to you tomorrow. Go Bucks.